Come on in, honey. The lantern's lit, the veil's a little thin, and the wind's been dying to carry a few secrets your way. Welcome to Raven's Ramblings, where the shadows walk beside us and the past never stays buried, and a good spell can speak louder than a sermon. I'm Raven Nightingale, part healer, part hellraiser, keeper of the old ways and ghost stories alike. So pull up a chair and listen close. You never know what might be whispering in the dark. Hey, witches, welcome back to Raven's Ramblings. I'm your host, Raven. Hey, it's been a rough week. Tonight, we are going to soak in the glow of the full moon in Pisces, rising high, coming this Sunday on September 7th. And she's not coming alone. This is not just a full moon. We are going to have a very powerful lunar eclipse also. So grab your tea, light a candle, and let's dive into this. Okay. So this moon, she is not just going to be shining, she is eclipsing. She is pulling the veil back, and whatever is hiding in those shadows is going to be revealed. All right. So this is the full moon in Pisces. It is mystic. It is the dreamer. It is the empath. And when the moon swims through these waters, emotions don't just rise. So keep that in mind. These emotions are not just going to rise, they are going to flood you and flood those around you. So you may feel extra sensitive, extra intuitive, maybe even a little foggy, a little dazed, a little overwhelmed, that kind of stuff. So just be wary of that and, kind of plan accordingly. Don't be doing anything major. Um, but that's part of Pisces magic. Heart is over logic, soul over schedule, that kind of stuff. It is more mystical than logical, period. So this is also a time where your dreams may speak louder than your thoughts, and your body may hold answers that your mind can't quite get to yet. Okay. Like you may get those feelings and like something feels weird, something feels off, or something feels amazing, but I just don't know what it is yet. That kind of stuff. And your intuition is going to open up. She is screaming. So pay attention, listen to your gut, listen to those little voices that may be a little bit louder at this point. Okay. Now, that is just the full moon in Pisces. Okay, that is not just what we're going to get on September 7th. We are also going to be throwing in a lunar eclipse. And oh my, that kind of stuff makes the energies of all this other intensify, because eclipses are kind of cosmic course correctors. They kind of shake things up. They pull those truths from the dark and kind of put them right in front of you and go, hey, you've been avoiding this. Now's the time to look at it. Now's the time to unpack that bag. And honestly, I have already been feeling this, even though we are still several days away. And we're not even in that 3 before and 3 after leeway, but my intuition, my brain has felt it kind of building just over the last 4 or 5 days. So, um, what was I saying? Oh, pulling those dark truths, making you face things you may or may not be ready for, but it is going to pull them out and go, hey, I need you to look at this, think about unpacking it, thinking about dealing with it. So, if something ends around this time, like a relationship, a pattern, an illusion, trust that it is being eclipsed for a reason. All right. And because this is also a good time to try to release things when we get a lunar eclipse. Now, a full moon, we normally wouldn't be releasing things. We would be holding on to that power and using that power. But with a lunar eclipse, sometimes we have to kind of get rid of some things. All right. So this is the last Pisces eclipse in this cycle. So anything that has been building emotionally or spiritually for you over the last year or two, these things may reach a tremendous climax. So it it could turn something you thought you had dealt with into a full-fledged unpacking of trauma. All right. So that climax may cause even more brain fog. It may cause those emotions to just completely overwhelm you. Just remember that tears are sacred and let them fall. All right. There's no shame in that. I know a lot of people are, and even me, if you ask my wife anyway, me especially, I'm notorious for being like, I'm fine. I don't need to unpack that. It's fine. I'll put it in a box in my mind and put something on top of that box and push it to the side because I'm not mentally ready to deal with it. Well, this week, and I'm assuming it's from the energy that is building for this eclipse and this full moon, this week, all those things have come front in my brain. So now I'm trying to unpack those things. Let me just tell you, not super fun. But tears are sacred. Let them fall. Hell, collect them. If I'd have thought about that the other day when I had my breakdown, I would have collected them. But I was not in my right mind enough to do that. So, some kind of things that we would do right now is reflection. So, a little witchy reflection prompt that we can go over. We're going to slow down for a second. We're going to ask ourselves things like, what illusions am I still clinging to? What am I still looking at through rose colored glasses? You know, because those are things that are going to come to light. You know, what about where am I ready to surrender instead of trying to control? We all try to control so many aspects of our life, and sometimes that's just not what's needed. You need to let go of that control and just surrender to that moment. And it's super scary. It is terrifying, but it's also good for you for the most part. Okay. Another one is what emotional cycles have run their course? What have we been beating ourselves up over for the last couple of years? And it's just done. That whole stop beating the dead horse kind of thing. Let it go. Be Elsa. Let it go. Let it flutter into the unknown. All right. So this moon isn't about necessarily manifesting. This moon is about releasing that, and that's really hard. It's really hard to release those kinds of things, especially with a full moon, because I don't know about y'all, but normally on a full moon, I want to pull things in and hold on to them because I want to hold on to that full moon power. Not this full moon. This full moon, we are releasing this shit. We are pushing out this old. We are, composting the old stuff so our soul can bloom and rise, kind of like a phoenix out of the ashes of this old crap that we don't need anymore. Okay, makes sense. Easy peasy. So, a simple ritual that you can do. Let me pull my note up here because I can't remember shit. Mm. This would be like for an eclipse releasing and some dream work. What you're going to need is a white candle, a bowl of water, mainly because Pisces equals water, which equals intuition. And then you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen. And then you could use some optional things like lavender or mugwort or amethyst. Now y'all know I love amethyst. I put it with everything. It goes with everything. Now, once you set all your stuff up, you're going to light your candle, call in your guides or your ancestors if you feel called to, because they're there to support you. Call on those ancestors. They know way more than we do. Now, take that piece of paper and pen, write down what you're ready to release, whether that be patterns or those illusions, old grief, fear, any kind of trauma, anything that you are ready to just completely let go of and send out into the universe. Write those things down and then read them out loud, speak them. You know, using the spoken word gives things those power or takes that power back from those things. Does that make sense? It makes it real. And then tear that piece of paper up. Tear it up. Place it in that bowl of water. And as that paper soaks in that water, say, with this moon, I let go. I clear space for truth and healing. Okay? Now, you can take that bowl and leave it out in the moonlight if possible. And then pay attention to your dreams that night because Pisces moons are very, very powerful dream weavers. Okay. Now, one thing about the eclipse itself, I am in Louisiana in the US, and we are not going to actually be able to see the eclipse here in the US in North America. It's mainly going to be overseas, Europe, Africa, that kind of stuff, because it's going to happen in like the afternoon here. So we're not going to actually see, physically see the eclipse. However, that is not going to diminish the power and the energy that comes from that eclipse. So just because you can't see it out there doesn't mean that energy is not there. So use it. So some final thoughts. This quick little bonus episode for this, eclipse and full moon. The moon might feel tender. Eclipses kind of leave us a little bit raw, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Remember, sometimes you have to kind of lose your way or travel off that path to find your truth. Trust that unraveling, trust that unpacking, trust the softness, trust the deep. Most of all, trust your magic. Okay? Trust your magic, trust your gut. So, that's all for tonight, my dears. Uh, this is just a little bonus episode. So, just a little, hey, don't forget, I'm here. I still care about y'all. Y'all are cool. If this episode spoke to your soul, don't forget to share it with your coven or your friend or a fellow moon gazer. And if you're doing any full moon magic, tag me in it. If it's on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, tag me. Tag Ravens Ramblings Podcast. I would love, absolutely love to see your rituals and your reflections. I think that would be absolutely amazing. Okay. Give me a follow on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're watching or listening to your podcast. And hopefully, share it with a friend. Until next time, stay wild, stay witchy, and remember, even in the dark, you are luminous. Bye.